Hey kids, it's England here. I got this interview from CBR.com, and it's titled, Didio Says Dark Matter is the First Step in Diversifying the DCU. It says, today, DC Comics revealed its next major publishing initiative, a run of brand new comics starring new characters branded as Dark Matter. But while the headlines of the initiative will draw eyeballs with its list of all-star artists and writers, the real question surrounding Dark Matter is how it will fit in and find an audience in a changing comics marketplace. To answer these questions, DC co-publishers Dan Didio and Jim Lee, as well as Dark Matter artists John Romita Jr., Greg Capello, and Andy Kubert, met with a small group of press during Diamond Comic Distributors Retail Summit, itself a prelude to this year's C2E2 convention in Chicago. The problem I have when I'm reading this, and this is basically for the entire interview, it isn't anything about DC Comics or even Dan Didio, and there might be one or two things. However, what's really red flagging me is the attitude that the writer is taking. Usually when a writer, one of these articles says something like the ever-expanding fan base, they're not talking about numbers. They're not saying, oh, and the fan base is getting bigger and bigger. What they're talking about is getting more diverse. But the thing is they never think diverse of thought. It doesn't matter to you to them if it is, once again, black can only be inspired by black. White can only be inspired by white. That seems to be the way these writers are thinking when they say that kind of thing. So I get a little tense whenever I read something like that. At the press roundtable, Didio and Lee spelled out their major plans for Dark Matter, including its newly buzzworthy practice of putting artists out in front, its relation to DC's Rebirth Initiative, its potential to diversify the line both on and off the page, and its chance for sales success in a soft market. Conceptually, books with a Dark Matter branding will serve two roles. First, the books will offer up brand new characters and concepts created collaboratively by some of the publisher's top talent. But aside from that general newness, the creators stress that there is a stylistic flourish here that will set these series apart from previous launches. All this stuff is set in the DC universe, Lee explained, but that doesn't necessarily make them straight superhero stories. He promised that all the series would be influenced by everything from action to science fiction to horror tropes, bringing a new sensibility to the core of their line of titles. Didio backed this idea up by saying Dark Matter represents a style and tone of comic book storytelling that embraces what we know and love about comics. He said classic storytelling themes like secret identities and the price of power will merge with a fanciful new world-building opportunities that are bigger than anything seen on a movie screen. Now, I want to put a break here so to make sure you understand that the next few words is the reporter's point of view that they're putting out there, and then it's followed by the answer that either Dan Didio or Jim Lee or somebody involved in DC Comics answered. Reporter: of course, any new comic launch today faces not only an expectation that the genre ideas in play will be different, but the content on the page will represent a more diverse world and readership. Now, the DC creators spoke to the idea of diversity in the line, but many of them stressed the idea that the more diverse characters would come not from mandate, but from the organic process of artists making stories in the 21st century. If you don't understand what that just said, DC Comics just shot a middle finger up to Marvel and said, we're not going to do diversity for diversity's sake. We're not going to shove things down the people's throat. However, if the story calls for it, that's when we're putting it in. First, Superman 27, now this. DC can't help but bitch slap Marvel these days. And it continues. Romita backed this claim up, noting that the new hero silencer he's creating with writer Dan Abnett is a female assassin, but that I don't think of it as a diversity item. I think of it as a new character. The artist said that if a story like this would be attempted with, say, Marvel recreating the Punisher as Frank Castle, he'd understand how readers would question the integrity of the story. But when artists start with the goal of making something totally new, there were no restrictions or second guessing, adding that with original characters as the focus. There have been great female characters and great characters of color over the years, and maybe this is why what I call the skeptic community and the comic book skeptic community. Maybe this is why we focus so much on Marvel, because it seems like the creators over at DC get it. And the racist misogynist reporter continues, so if letting diverse characters organically grow out of the story is an important factor for Dark Matter, then why not have a more diverse lineup of creators? Why not, one reporter asked, have more women working on these books? Didio said that at his first phase of expansion, DC was counting on folks who have a track record to do this for us. Which, of course, means the best people for the job. See, I never understood this whole thing. Oh, we need more women for, we need more black people for, we need more Asians for, we need more... No, you need the best for. And if the best happen to be, then yes, you don't need a woman because she's a woman. You don't need a little brown lesbian because she's a little brown lesbian. We've seen how that works out. We need the best people for the job, no matter what color, what religion, what sexual gender, what sexual orientation they are. Just the best for the job. The publisher is betting that big-name artists who have already moved big numbers in the comic shops will give Dark Matter its best chance for initial success, but that doesn't mean a more diverse roster of creators won't be coming onto DC titles and even Dark Matter titles in the future. Bang-a-rang to DC. That's all I have to say. That's it. Bang-a-rang to them because they freaking get it. Both Didio and Lee pointed at the company's new talent workshop pushes as a place where more new and diverse creators will funnel into the line, including many women, with the 4 assembled artists leading DC's new Masterclass initiative. The skills and experience of the veterans will ideally help newer talent learn the ropes quicker. Overall, readers should think of Dark Matter as the first stage in a long plan to expand the company's appeal and the marketplace. Not just the DCU, Didio said. He promised that in the months ahead, even more new titles and ideas would be coming that would include a very diverse talent lineup, at one point citing creators like Supergirl's being super artist Joelle Jones. Now, I've read Supergirl Being Super and highly recommend it. And yes, there is a gay character in it, but there's not a lot of cringe. It says that that's the kind of person that will be seen more and more in the future of DC's line, and that's fine if they keep the cringe out of it, because it should never be about diversity. We shouldn't care what a character is. Just don't get rid of a classic one and put in somebody just for diversity's sake, or shove politics down our throat. With this initial focus on market-proven stars at the lead of new characters, the obvious question came up as to whether Dark Matter's rollout was at all a reboot to recent talk from Marvel Comics about artists no longer proving a selling point for their comics. Didio gave 2 responses to the idea. First, he rejected the notion coming from anyone that artists don't sell books. The names sell, and it's important for us to lean on them to be as confident as possible, he said. But he followed that up by noting that this launch was in the works long before the Marvel artists, quote, hit the web, and that DC is following its own market instincts here and not looking to poke its competitor in the eye. Well, congratulations, Dan Didio. You didn't poke them in the eye. You put a boot up their ass. I applaud Dan Didio. Good job, sir. The outspoken Ramita, however, had a more pointed take on the question. People have the impression that writers are the gods of the process. They are not. I actually take offense to that notion. The notion that the artist can't move the needle is insane. I think saying that about a writer, too, is insane. It's a collaboration, he says. The artist further noticed that he feels that Marvel's reluctance to promote books based around an artist is more the result of the publisher's refusal to pay for a higher-priced name artist. Their sales are reflecting it. Dan Didio said his view of superstar artists come from the fact that he sits next to Jim Lee in his job and sees how much influence the longtime fan favorite has with his work to this day. He compared the idea of big-name artists making a splash to the image revolution of the 90s, which he's fascinated with. When you match superstar creators with new ideas, it stops you from just servicing the existing audience. He wants DC to be fearless about what they do in publishing. It's not simply enough to do the same stories with the same heroes over and over. But, one reporter asked, hasn't this kind of launch been tried before and failed? What would make Dark Matter more sustainable than the moment when Jack Kirby came to DC with a brand new idea and found little sales success, for example? Didio said he felt that the energy of the new launch will be sustainable in multiple ways. What we want to do is instill a style of storytelling and sensibility that works for dark matter, but can also work in the DCU as well, he said. Adding that the cutting-edge sensibility of the books will carry their own energy beyond the star power headlining the first comic's arrival. Not every artist co-creator may draw 50 issues of these new series, he said, but DC was dedicated to making these properties long-term successes due to their creative energy. The co-publishers also outlined the basics of how the rollout will arrive in shops and what incentives readers will have to get on board. Dark matter is a branding, an overall concept for creativity at DC, but it does launch on the back of the Scott Snyder-led Dark Days. From there, Capullo and Snyder's Dark Knight's Metal will hit in August, followed by no more than 2 new titles per month until the end of the year. There you go, gang. I know I read past my point, but I just wanted you guys to get the full story and everything. The point of the book, or the interview here, the review, whatever you want to call it, interview, thank you, is the fact that DC Comics it really does have it right. They don't want to do diversity for diversity's sake. They don't want to have more of anything. They just want to have the right of anything. And that's the way it all should be. That's the way you're inclusive. That's the way you get people to want to do better. Once again, I mentioned it earlier. I'll mention it again. You want to include little brown lesbians just because you need more little brown lesbians, you get America. You need good writers. You need more good writers, need more good artists, not more name the race, name the religion, name the sexual orientation. And thankfully, at least with this new release here, with Dark Matter, DC's going to follow that particular advice. So what do you think, kids? Or am I right about this? Am I wrong? Am I just speaking out of my unemployed yet overprivileged white ass? Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you like this video, just click like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything else. And most importantly, thank you very, very much for watching. Hey gang, also don't forget our Patreon page and VidMe. There will be some patron-only content coming. Definitely, we've been working on it and we're going to have tons. And all you need is $1 to join. So go on over there, links in the description below. Check it out. Hope you enjoy, and thank you very much to those who already have. And once again, to everyone, thank you very much for watching.